Hey guys, what's up? Time for another fragrance review to keep my channel active. So today, let's do by Kilian's Light My Fire. And I've said this many times before, although by Kilian, I don't think they'd have any fragrances that would make my top 10 fragrances ever. In terms of actual repertoire or catalog of fragrances, by Kilian is perhaps actually my favorite fragrance house, actually, because so many other fragrances are just actually awesome, I think, right? So let's talk about Light My Fire, though. Light My Fire is a fragrance that I used to be just okay with. I used to be kind of like ambivalent to it, but it actually really grew on me. And I say that because you know how sometimes when someone says something about a fragrance and maybe it gives you a certain memory or a certain association and it could make it better or worse? When someone told me Dr. Pepper, when they talked about Light My Fire, it just totally changed what I thought about the fragrance, right? I went from being, oh, it's all right, to, wow, there's a great novelty value to this fragrance. And what I mean is, I guess to describe the fragrances, one of the things I was worried about when I smelled this fragrance originally was the cumin. I'm going to say cumin from now. I think it's actually called cumin, but because there is kind of a herbal, kind of almost slightly stanky note for only a few minutes, right? And even before someone told me Dr. Pepper, I could tell myself, wow, this is one of the only fragrances that has this kind of herbal, kind of slight stank, almost just for like a little bit, only a few minutes, that I still would wear, right? But when someone told me Dr. Pepper, I totally got the novelty of it. So I would describe this fragrance as, imagine you got some tobacco, right? And you don't have a match to light this tobacco, whatever you're going to smoke your tobacco with, right? So you take your Dr. Pepper. And I'm not joking, dude. Seriously, think about this, right? Imagine you light the tobacco with Dr. Pepper. And when someone told me that, I was like, holy shit, I can smell the Dr. Pepper. And it sounds so weird. It's like you lit this tobacco with Dr. Pepper and it becomes almost a boozy, damp kind of tobacco, honey tobacco, right? That dries down into this vanilla and honey. And imagine after all the tobacco's gone, you get this sort of, again, this really nice, relaxing, snuggly honey, vanilla tobacco with just little bits of glitter and sparkles from the Dr. Pepper booze, I guess if you want to call it, that you lit this tobacco with. And I say, you know, by Kilian fragrances are kind of interesting to me just because, especially when you're paying this much money for fragrances, you have to make it interesting, right? And I think that is something that by Kilian does well because a lot of them have that alcoholic tinge to it, if you will, or some kind of drink tinge. And this one, the boozy, quotation marks, nuance, if you want to call it, is actually kind of a, well, Dr. Pepper. And it's kind of interesting, right? So anyway, you know, the first few minutes are a little bit dry, maybe even potentially a little bit of stanky herbal, cumin, whatever it is, but it dries down real quick and you get this Dr. Pepper, fizzy, sticky, honey vanilla tobacco aroma. It whiffs through the air nicely. You know what I mean? It gets pretty snuggly, but yeah, just great. Honey, vanilla tobacco, damp, dry tobacco. There's some hay in this, you can smell it, but really, I wouldn't worry about the cumin or the cumin note, whatever. Think about Dr. Pepper when you smell this fragrance, and I think it makes it smell very interesting. Anyway, Dr. Pepper, honey, vanilla tobacco, I guess. Anyway, that's me keeping my channel active fragrance-wise. And performance is fine on this fragrance as well. The end.